Hi, welcome back to my lesson on watercolor cards with brushes. I wanted to talk to you about stamping and the supplies that I use for creating my card panels like these. I have a bunch of different card panels that you're going to watch me paint, and I thought, of course, you need to know how to stamp onto your card panels and get a good stamp. And I don't want to not have you guys, I want to be able to teach you all the tips and tricks that I know, and so that you can have a good stamp, detailed stamp, so you're not wasting watercolor paper. And I have wasted lots of watercolor paper by not using the right ink or by not pressing hard enough. So anyways, I wanted to just kind of give you a rundown. Feel free to skip this lesson if you are a seasoned stamper, but if you are not a seasoned stamper or you're not used to stamping on watercolor paper, this lesson will probably be very beneficial for you. So this is what I use. I use Ranger Archival ink. This is not what the stamp pad looks like. This is, it will say Ranger's Archival ink. I got this stamp pad a long time ago, and the ink that was on this pad has like gone out. Anyways, instead of buying a new stamp pad with the right name on it, I just re-ink my ink pad with re-inker Ranger Archival ink, and this is jet black. This is black ink. Okay, so that's the ink you want, archival black or archival ink that is waterproof. Most archival ink is waterproof, but you want it to say waterproof on the thing. So right, so I got stamps, a bunch of different ones. This one is great for sentiments, but we'll put that aside because I want to show you how to stamp these feathers with brushes, and that's why I had that out. But anyways, so I have a couple of stamps that I think are fun. This is called like a big stamp with like a full image. That's usually called a background stamp. You usually use it for a background, and then you add things to it, and I'll show you what I mean when we stamp and create the card. But big stamps with images usually are called background stamps. These are usually called like any kind of stamps, whatever. You take them off of the sheet, and you can use them however you see fit. And the example of that is maybe right here. I've situated them in different places, and then later I can stamp the stem if I wanted to, or just draw a stem wherever. I don't want to draw the stem yet because I want to see what the brushes is going to do before I draw the stem, because it might be that I don't need the stem and I just kind of doodle my own stem, which as long as you can draw a line, you can. So anyways, but these are I call these like line stamps, where you can use them in a bunch of different varieties, a bunch of different ways, and I have a lot of fun with that. And then last but not least, I have my favorite. I love sentiments, you guys. I have fallen in love with this company, Tailored Expressions. They do a ton of different sentiments, and I just love their line. I love the quality of their stamps. If you noticed, the three stamps that I have right now are like we call them red rubber stamps. You can get them in poly, like a clear stamp made with like polymer rubber. They do well. They do well. I have a couple ones like this is made with a clear stamp, and they're good. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to really ink up the stamp really well. Yeah, so that's kind of where you start. Now the Ranger Archival ink, I usually use black. Sometimes I'll use white, or like a light yellow, and that will help. That would be called no line watercolor. Or you just want a faint line, so then you can make it look more artistic. I like the ink and wash look. I like being able to see the lines. So that's usually what I go with. They also, so when I start, I recommend a black ink and a brown ink, because brown, sometimes you want just something a little bit more subtle and you don't want it to be stark black. So I go with whatever. But you know, there's a ton of different archival ink colors that Ranger has put out. I mean, you can get the whole rainbow of colors if you really wanted to. I just stick with the black, and I have red and I have pink, and then like a gray along with the brown. So, you know, you don't need all the colors, and they're only like $4 or $5 a piece for the ink pad, but still $4 or $5 times 6 colors, and you're invested in your ink at that point. So, and then I always recommend buying, when you buy an ink pad, you buy the re-inker to go with it. That's just what you do, because what will happen is you'll wish you had your re-inker because there's no more ink in the pad, and you have to go to the store, find it online, wait for it to ship. Whereas if you have it, you don't have to think, oh, did I buy the re-inker or not? You know you bought the re-inker. You can happily stamp along the way. So that's another tip that I have. Let me show you. Okay, so let's say you want to do this. I love this flower garden stamp set. It is a couple years old. You can still get it. I think you can still get it on scrapbook.com and on, I don't know, any other stamp store that you like. Simon Says Stamps might still have it. I'm not quite sure, but I like the bigger florals. They have a flower garden like small mini set, and it's these in a smaller size, and I like the bigger size. I say, why not? So what I would do if I were to make this card is I would find my 3 florals, and that's this one and this one and this one, and I'm going to pretend that I don't have anything stamped. And the wonderful thing about this paper is that if you mess up on this side, you can flip it around and stamp on the other side, and that's perfectly okay. All right, so this is called a Misty, and I use this all the time. You can use regular clear acrylic blocks, but I have found that this is like a $40 tool. I totally recommend getting it. It is one of my favorites. It's a non-negotiable. If you're going to start stamping, before you buy, I would much rather buy one stamp set and play with that all month if I'm on like a budget, than buying like 3 or 4 stamp sets and not having one of these. These, as soon as you buy a stamp set, you should buy a Misty. That's just how it works, and I wish I would have done that. I would have not have wasted so much paper. Anyways, so what I'll do is I will arrange my florals in the way that I like, and I'm gonna do that. And I do like to get some of them off the paper, so I might even, and I want to give them a lot of space to grow. Again, using my artistic license to see how I want my flower garden to work. And then these are magnets. The bottom of this is magnetic, so you can put these magnets onto the paper. It comes with some little disc magnets, but they don't work as well as the bar ones. So I like buying the bar ones, and you can get them on Misty's website as well. All right, so now we're ready. We're ready to, and if I were to do multiple cards, I would just know, okay, I need my card base just a pinky length from the corner over. Or I can make a note saying it's almost at 5.5, but not quite. You know, I don't think going off one way or the other is really going to matter to you, unless you have a sentiment that you want to put like right here or right here, which I could, and let's do that. Why not? I will do this one. May your dreams come true. We'll see if it actually fits. It might not, but I think it will. And it doesn't have to be the sentiment, it could be a different sentiment, but there you go. Now I have a card panel that I'm ready to go. All right. When I'm designing card panels, I will often think, what feeling do I want to convey? Is it working? All right, so as you can tell that I have maybe a little bit too much ink right there. What I will do is I will clean that up. Now this is archival ink, so now this is going to stay my rag or my washcloth. I'm okay with that because it is a rag or a washcloth. But if if you don't want anything to stain, you might want to get a paper towel handy. But I've been at this long enough to know that it really isn't going to matter too much if I stain my washcloth or not. All right, and now I'm pressing hard, and watercolor paper needs about 20 seconds for it to absorb. And it's not always going to, and so I press pretty hard with my thumb, with my hand. I'll also, and then there we go. There is a watercolor panel for you. And I see that I missed right down here. So I'm going to actually take this off because this is a little bit thicker than the others, probably because it's new and I haven't used that, and because it came from a different company, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. That didn't. So that's why I like the Missies, because if I were to just use an acrylic block, I would have ruined that. I would not have been able to get what I needed from it. And I see that that's not completely crisp, so I'm going to go ahead and press down again on that. And then I got a crisper flower. So there we go. We got this. And then you're on your way to paint. So that's kind of the same, and the same thing with this one. This one's a fun sentiment stamp set because every piece is interchangeable. So I could say plant kindness and you will harvest love, or throw kindness like confetti, or kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. So there's so many uses for this one stamp set, and that's why I love her stamp sets. I have another one with, and it just says blessed, and then blessed by your friendship, blessed by your kindness, and then there's a scripture like simply blessed is another one. So I like sentiments like this where we can really just play around with the wording and go from there. Okay, so now that we know how to stamp, we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way, and let's start watercoloring with Brusho on our stamped panels.